I'm super excited because today we're actually going to be painting, camouflaging, and I guess completely ghillie covering, is to the best of my ability, the carbine kit AAP-01, or the sniper AAP-01 we've been working on. I want you to keep in mind there's a lot of things that I'm going to do in this video that I don't particularly recommend, and I'll mention those. Specifically, one thing is I use duct tape instead of like painter's tape. I did throw some on inside of the Camouflage. The rear of this sight is already covered up. We tossed some up in front of the barrel so that doesn't get filled up with paint. I also covered the bolt, and I'm keeping the mag in just so that obviously paint doesn't get up in there. This also is a prism scope that needs to let light in order to work, so I just went ahead and covered that up as well. And the small little fiber optic up in the front, so we could use that if we still want. There's none up in the back, so don't have to worry about that. You guys up to the headmount because I figured this would be the best way for me to kind of showcase everything and do this with my hands completely free. These are all of my paint selection that we're working with right now, and I think we're going to go for more of like a foresty tone. So we'll go for like some dark browns and dark greens and whatnot. Maybe tan. I don't know if we're going to throw any tan in there, but we'll definitely want to try some of the like grass colored look. The only thing that I'm worried about right now is this grass color is a little bit on the shiny side, but I'm hoping that since it's like a satin, if I throw a matte clear coat over it, hopefully that will just completely void out the like shine of the green, and will just leave us with like a nice matte like grass colored green. And maybe, what is this? What color is this? I'm sorry, I'm totally colorblind, so it's always hard for me to do this. I like this green as opposed to this like sand color. So we're gonna put this back and we'll test this one out as well. Now, before we start with any crazy designs and camouflage things, I want to start off with throwing my base coat on, and I usually take the lighter color to start. What I kind of want to do is like a mixture of these two, and we're gonna kind of like unevenly stripe it down the replica. And we'll do it on the other side as well. The only thing that I'm really worried about is I don't know how well the paint's going to stick to this carbon fiber suppressor, just because it is super smooth right now, and I'm obviously not going to sand that down. I've never tried this technique before, so cross your fingers. Now we're going to start with the color that I trust the least, because we want the color that I'm going to trust more to cover a majority of it. And we'll kind of just start striping it around. And keep in mind, we want to try and get the top and the bottom of the areas that we stripe as well, so we don't have like any empty spaces where that black is showing. This is okay, this is the base coat, so we can always come back over it if we need to. It's really not coming out the way that I want it to. Maybe we will just base coat the entire thing in this color and then come back over with the other color, because it seems to be spreading weird. It's not like an aggressive angled tip on the end of this container, so we'll just cover it for now. Let's just take like an hour. We'll let coat 1 dry, and then we'll come back for coat 2 of this dark green. Sun's going down, so it's a little darker out, so I hope you can see it all, but it sort of looks like the Incredible Hulk. I still have a plan for this, so bear with me. We're going to keep going. The next move is I'm going to take some cloth. I'm going to drape it over a large section like this. Make sure it's wrapped around nice and secure. And I'll even throw, do we need a zip tie? I don't know that we're going to need a zip tie. It's okay if it looks a little messy. Maybe if anything, we'll just throw a zip tie through the middle to pull it together. Should be enough to hold it down. And then we'll take something like a lighter color and a darker color, and we'll just do a little bit like a striping pattern of some sort with both pieces. So this one, thanks to the nozzle, it's going to be a little bit more of like a full coating. The other one's nozzle is a little bit smaller, so we'll start with this one. Now you see how this brown color has that thin nozzle? We should be able to get some like aggressive striping. there, and there. Make sure we go over and under. Now, if I ever so carefully remove this, what do you think? And now we have this like lizard skin pattern look to it, which is super, super cool. Now what I'm thinking is for this area, I love the way that looks. We're gonna try and leave it. We're not gonna touch this space. We are going to soon, but not right away. I wanna do a different patterning over here. We'll do almost similar to that lizard skin pattern down this section, and then we'll leave this space, or like half of this space, open again for some other stuff. Now I moved it over to this section. I'm a little bit nervous because it's hard to get this like mesh to sit up completely against the replica. I did put some twigs in it and stuff to kind of keep it a little bit closer towards it and keep it like mushed on each side. But we're not going to go too far out. I kind of want to stay in like this section generally. And we'll start off with that same color that we used first. And we'll kind of just do like a light misting. Now we're definitely not going to get a full coating on this. It's not going to look the same way as that one did, but we're going to go ahead and throw the brown on now. We want it to look like almost like twigs of a tree, like the darker shadows of a tree. So we're going to go a little aggressive with it. We'll give it like a little like that. Go over the top. And we'll go up from the front. Remember, never skimp on your dark colors. Might even bring one up, like a streak up this direction as well. Now for the fun part, without messing anything up, we're just going to pull these sticks and twigs out that I felt the need to jam in here. Let's go ahead and peel that off. And let's see, what do we think? That looks horrible. This section looks terrible, but we're not dead in the water yet, because being that it's paint, we can always go over it. Some of the other areas, like down here, doesn't look too bad. Up over by the trigger kind of looks cool. It's really up in this scope section that's a problem, but we're going to solve that. So now we're going to get this stencil out, and we've got this olive color. And I'm going to try and run it kind of up against the stock. Now keep in mind the stock is an area that's going to be almost wedged in my arm the entire time, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but we definitely want it to look pretty decent. You can kind of see that. You could probably see that better than I can. That's just because my eyes are a little special. Kind of see some of those markings, like it's a little bit darker with some shadows. Now my goal is to crank out that same exact thing up here on the handguard and see if we can get that to sit right. So we're going to just kind of set it up against there, and we'll give it a little spritz. Now to blend some of these spaces together, I think what we'll do is go back through with the brown, and we'll hit those like hard marks where the different colors kind of fade into one another. I'm also going to try and take this cardboard and block it off so we get more of like a hard shadow line, and then it fades into something a little bit softer. Kind of hit it like here. I'll hit at the top. Go again down this way. Section that I guess I smudged, I really can't figure out if I hate the back or if I hate the front more. I think the back looks worse-ish. Maybe the front works worse, like in this section. So what we'll do is we'll kind of use the brown to dissipate this section. We'll use more shadow here and leave this area. So we'll kind of just hit it with and there you have it. The matte clear coat has gone on, and I've given about 48 hours to completely dry and set in the way that it needed to be, just not touching it and whatnot. And to say the least, it's all right. The best way that I can explain it to you is it kind of reminds me of a Hershey Kiss, right? It's good, you'd have it, but you'd also not mind if you didn't have it again. I like the way some sections turned out. I wish I didn't rush it so much, but obviously it was a little later in the day and I was losing sunlight, and I should have been patient, but I wasn't. So we'll kind of work our way from front to back. You'll see this section is a spot that I smudged, but the suppressor came out with this super unique looking like a lizard skin pattern. We faded into some of the browns, and then if you could see just ever so slightly, there are some different greens, like a striping pattern, almost to resemble like grass or sticks, and some shadows. And then we did some more brown up in the front, a little dark up in here because I was trying to cover some of my mistakes where I had smudged it. But as we get into this section, we start to see more of that lizard skinning pattern on some different areas, which I think actually turned out pretty cool in some of these spots. Like you can see, it almost looks like 3D, like three-dimensional in some way. All the spots we taped off are completely clear. There is nothing anywhere near on or around the bolt, obviously. And you could see too that the mag well is also completely clear. That's why we kept the mag in. I don't mind if the mag gets a little color on its base. It does that every now and again. This is the mag that I always paint with it on, so it does get covered pretty often, but you know, no big deal. The front glass, when I took this off, is completely clear. We do have a clear tube so that the prism scope can get its light through, and we still have access to that fiber optic on the front. Continuing towards the back, we got some more dark shadowing to blend the two. You can see again that two-tone green pattern, and then just brown out the stock. Give it some nice shadow. That's gonna be in my arm anyway. See up in the front, no big deal. It doesn't really matter that we have that black spot. It's just so that the paint doesn't get into the suppressor or into the inner barrel. On the underside, it kind of fades out, but imagine, like, again, you know, the perfect camouflage in the world are animals. They've evolved to have camouflage, and animals have a different bellies, so that's fine if the belly doesn't have as much camo on it, because at what point in time is anybody looking at me from the bottom up, you know? Like I said, I think some areas like this section could have been better if I didn't rush it. This section could have been better if I didn't rush it. But again, this isn't the final rendition. We will probably wind up throwing on a little bit of like some ghillie wrap. I'm probably going to throw some sniper tape on it. I would like to throw some leaves on it and stuff just to kind of cover it up and break up some of the smooth sections. I do think that the matte clear coat could have been better. It's not the best matte coating on the planet, but there's not enough shine, especially when you're in like a bright environment, that it doesn't really glisten all that much. I don't really know how to explain it, but it really doesn't glisten all that much. And I think it turned out pretty nice. When you see it out in the sun, again, like I said, you can see a little bit of a shine, like some areas in the grip and stuff, but we're going to throw a little bit more coverage on this soon. And I don't think that the untrained eye would be able to pull this out if you were hiding in a bush or in the woods somewhere, and especially if we had some like raffia on it and some sniper's tape too. I also think with the fall coming and some more darker colors coming out into the wild and the wilderness, this is going to fare much better as opposed to it would with like a bunch of the greens and whatnot, like those browns. It's a little bit more on the dark side. So I think as we start to get into the fall season, this might do a little bit better too. Again, go easy on me. I'm colorblind, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I'll see you next time when we FPS test it and we kind of show you its capabilities, because we haven't really gotten to do that yet.